perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
The Empire Strikes Back, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, the first Cars movie. What do all these things have in common? They're all perfect. There is something new that's perfect though. Hogwarts Legacy. Everything in this game has so much heart put into it and so much passion towards this franchise. From the little details of the abandoned rundown castle in this game having the exact same layout as the Hagrid ride in Universal Studios Florida. To plenty of references and Easter eggs in the movies and books like the kitchens where the house elves work at and cook in Hogwarts under the Great Hall, Dumbledore's office, Ron's ball gown outfit, and everyone's favorite ghost, Peeves. Back when Hogwarts Legacy was first announced back in September 2020, it sounded way too good to be true. A game where you'd get to experience being a student at Hogwarts and learning all different kinds of magic for plenty of different scenarios. With the whole massive free roam world to explore with places outside of Hogwarts like Hogsmeade and the Forbidden Forest, along with the whole of every room inside of Hogwarts. This is everything us Harry Potter fans have wanted in a game. And it succeeded on almost all of that. Obviously, there's some iconic spots missing from the Wizarding world like Diagon Alley and the Ministry of Magic, but we still got content and missions from both Gringotts and Azkaban. And complaining about this game not having stuff like that, just look at this whole great game that we got in the first place, and we never thought we'd get this to begin with. I made a video a while back talking about how I was really hoping for Quidditch and ideas for the game if they ever add it, but now it looks like we're getting a whole separate game for Quidditch, so that's awesome, and it's probably why we never got Quidditch in this game, but I'm happy for that game. Now let's talk about the expansions we have so far in the game. I made a video for the Dark Arts pack already, so I'll leave a link in the description for that. The best expansion we have though is a PlayStation exclusive, unfortunately, and that's the Haunted Hogsmeade expansion. You get to play a mission that has different mechanics to how the rest of the game plays, everything from the boss fight to just how it all looks and, as I said, how it plays. The Weeping Angel mannequins are super eerie, and there's some actual jump scares here in this mission. Once you beat the mission for it, you unlock your own shop where you could sell items in your inventory for more than you can in any other shop. Along with that, you get a nice outfit and a house elf friend to help you make the shop run. Haunted Hogsmeade was just quite literally the best perfect expansion for this game that you could ever think of, and maybe I'll make a full video for it one day. I could go so much more into detail about that expansion. I love it so much, but let's move on to talking about the characters now. Since Hogwarts Legacy is a story game, it is important to talk about some of the characters here. I really like a lot of the characters here. It's just like in the Harry Potter books and films, this game does a really great job of making each character's personality so unique from one another and does a really great job with the side characters. I've handpicked some of the better characters from the story that I feel I need to talk about, so let's get into this. I'm a big sucker for the villains, and I think my favorite character from this game was Ranrock, so let's get into him first. Ranrock is a goblin who's tired of all the discrimination towards goblins so far in the Wizarding world, and he's building a goblin empire that he hopes will one day be the society that runs things in there. He goes so far with his motives that he even kills his own brother trying to get closer to his goals in this story. He is really messed up in the head like that. In a series with great villains like Voldemort and Grindelwald, it's really nice to see Ranrock live up to them and stand up on his own. Now, when I brought up that I was going to be talking about characters here, I know for any of you guys watching who've played the game, thought I'd start with the fan favorite, Sebastian. Sebastian is a Slytherin student who you go to Hogwarts with who is stupid ambitious like a true Slytherin. He's a good kid with good intentions, trying to do whatever it takes to cure his sick sister. It's just the way he goes about it doing these things leads to his downfall. He's actually how you, the main character, learns the 3 unforgivable curses in the game if you choose to learn them. In the end, he ends up killing his uncle trying to reach his goals, and that leaves his sister absolutely heartbroken and never wanting to talk to him again. The player is then left with the choice on if they want to send him to Azkaban prison or not for his crimes. If you're curious about what I ended up doing, I was a snitch. I sent him to prison my first time playing. But you gotta remember, I'm a goody two-shoe Hufflepuff. I had to do it. But on my second playthrough of the game, on my Slytherin, I decided to let it slide, and he's still in Hogwarts chilling with me. And fun fact, if you let it slide and you decided to not learn the 3 unforgivable curses, once you're done the story, you could go find him and he will teach you them anyways. But you could only learn them after the main story if you decided to not send him to prison. Now, we still have quite a few characters I want to talk about here, but I would love to just take a pause in the middle of this video for you guys to experience the adventure of traveling through Hogwarts in this game and just how immersive and beautiful it is. And it's such a good job of displaying what the movies and books brought to life for us. So I'll shut up now. Here's exploring Hogwarts.
How does Garrett's subterranean...
Back to talking about the characters in this game, all the teachers are cool, and I like how they all show up in the final battle. Makes you happy. You learn these spells from them all game, and now you get to see them kicking ass with each of the spells that they taught you. We still got 2 more characters to talk about, Natty and Poppy. Natty is a Gryffindor at its finest. She's incredibly brave, willing to jump in front of the Cruciatus curse to save you, and being a really good friend to you throughout the story, who's sort of like a Hermione to you, and she's just amazing. Now, we got Poppy.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Poppy is a Hufflepuff student, so she's already awesome because of that, and she loves animals. I like to think when she graduates from Hogwarts, she becomes an idol for Newt Scamander because they're so similar to each other and they're both Hufflepuffs. I love Newt, he's arguably my favorite character throughout the entire series, and Poppy's so similar to him, so she's brilliant. The amount of magic we can do in this game is great too. There are 31 spells in the game with lots of potions and plants to use too. Even the wand movement of the spells is accurate to the movements we see them use and learn in the films. Now, I brought this up earlier in the video discussing some Easter eggs, but now it's time for me to really get into all of it, and here are some stuff that I've noticed hidden throughout Hogwarts Castle and just throughout the map. This Niffler toy in Zonko's joke shop is a reference to the Umbridge toy in the Weasley twins joke shop. This potion closet is the same closet Snape lectures Harry in the Goblet of Fire. There's an Easter egg in honor of the late Robbie Coltrane in this game. It's a gravestone with a hippogriff beside Hagrid's hut. Rest in peace, Robbie Coltrane. It's not Hogwarts without you, Hagrid. By the lake in the Forbidden Forest, you can find deer near it, as it's a reference to Harry using his Patronus there in The Prisoner of Azkaban. There's an Easter egg to the Dark Souls series near the top of the map at an Inferi camp. It's the campfire sword, of which is the save point in the Dark Souls games. Only with this one, you gotta light it up yourself. That won't be hard though, because you need to use fire spells to fight off the Inferi, so you might light it up on accident and see it burning when you end up finding it. Side note, I think it's really cool they took the element from the books and films that you gotta use fire to defeat the Inferi, like when it showed Dumbledore and it was Harry and they were getting that Horcrux and he had to use the fire spells, the fire tornado, to keep them all away. So I think it's really cool that they included that in the game to defeat the Inferi. In the astronomy wing girls bathroom in the farthest stall, you can find some polyjuice potion being brewed. This is a reference to Chamber of Secrets when Hermione made polyjuice potion in the girls washroom. Sirius Black's cell he stayed at in Hogwarts at the end of Prisoner of Azkaban is on top of the astronomy wing, and you could actually go inside of it. And last but definitely not least, if you go into the girls' washroom near the Slytherin common room, this is actually the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets, and you could see a snake on the sink. Let's talk about Newt Scamander again. In this game, you could literally become him. You unlock a suitcase that sucks up animals that you could put into different vivariums. There are 5 different vivariums you can put the beast in, so it's up to you where you want to put them. They all have different biomes to them. Does any of that sound familiar to you? Well, if it does, that's because Newt's suitcase and basement at his house have plenty of different vivariums to them, just like in this game. Even some creatures introduced in the Fantastic Beasts movies like Nifflers, Scraphorns, Mooncalfs, and more make their way into this game, while they still have beasts from the original series like Hippogriffs and Phoenix in the game still. And if you don't want to put beasts in your vivariums, you really don't have to. Instead, you can make some easy money. You can sell the beasts to an animal sanctuary, so you could keep them safe from the poachers instead if you don't want to keep them in your vivarium. Now, it is needed to say that all the creatures in this game are worth the same price, and I know that that is one of the very, very little flaws in this game, because why is a Graphorn that could easily kill you and is a very tough boss fight regularly the same price as a Puffskein? Aside from that one slight flaw in this game, essentially I'm saying all this because not only did the game adapt so much from the Harry Potter films, but also the Fantastic Beasts films. To me, that's incredible world building in this game, connecting the two like that. You can be both Harry and Newt at the same time, the 2 main characters of the series. I love this game. Now let's get into some potential ideas I have for a Hogwarts Legacy sequel. So I'm gonna just lay down a whole premise for a story I've thought of for a potential sequel. So we know within the Wizarding World projects we've seen that the Ministry of Magic never wants to act on anything important and always tries to cover stuff up. Example, Fudge misleading the public to make them think Voldemort wasn't back and basically pinning everything on Harry and Dumbledore. Another example was not letting Newt leave the country after everything that happened in New York in the first Fantastic Beasts movies. Now, I think for a sequel, they'd definitely be suspicious of our character in Hogwarts Legacy. Think about it. Since we showed up, the first Ministry worker we met in our way to Hogwarts was killed by a dragon right in front of us when we first met them. Then, Sebastian's uncle, who used to be a Auror, which means they worked for the Ministry and they were pretty much like the best of the best at hunting down evil wizards, was killed right in front of us. I feel they would almost have to question us, especially since they are very, very misleading, which I explained in my examples. Not to mention, I think they'd be wondering how a 15-year-old first year at Hogwarts managed to take down Ranrock alone. And keep in mind, as I said earlier in the video, Ranrock is the leader of the current Goblin Rebellion. They could also try and use this whole Ministry interrogation with us to try and tie in Sebastian's story, because if you turn him in, he goes to Azkaban, so maybe make his trial there be happening at the same time so we could run into him and get some more story with him potentially. I came up with all that so we can get the Ministry of Magic in this game as part of the map, and that would just be awesome. But if you're doing a Hogwarts Legacy sequel, you probably want the game to be more focused back at Hogwarts, so let's do an obvious, easy idea that would add more to the map of Hogwarts. The Chamber of Secrets. They do have an easy setup with the heir of Salazar Slytherin currently being in the school while our character is, which is Ominous Gaunt. It's just the only problem with that is Ominous is way too friendly with everyone. There would be no reason for him to open the chamber. I feel the only reason he's in Slytherin at the end of the day is just because it's in his blood. I really don't think Ominous is truly a Slytherin. I view him as much more of a Ravenclaw. But point being, I don't know how they would fully work it in, but I'm just putting it out there. It's a cool idea. Another incredibly popular idea that I've been seeing a lot around the internet would be introducing Dumbledore into the story, because if you don't know, people did the math online and they realized that this would be around the time that Dumbledore's first few years at Hogwarts would be happening. So it really just throws out the question of, can we potentially see Dumbledore in a Hogwarts Legacy sequel? Personally, I would love to see him. I don't know how much a first year Dumbledore would overly add to the story. Maybe he would be cool as a side character, but I can't really see anything more that would throw him into the story aside from him just being a side character that's cool just to be there. Like, maybe you could have side quests with him, but I don't want it to be anything major that would take away from his story that is being told. Obviously, they can break the canon and include Grindelwald at Hogwarts, but I don't think they do that. I actually just thought of something that would be cool with Dumbledore if maybe let's say Professor Weasley knew that he had powerful wizard blood in him or something along the lines like that. I don't know, I'm just brainstorming right now. But let's say he had powerful wizard blood in him and he needed a guide to the school, so Miss Weasley, after seeing our successful first year at Hogwarts, has us be his guide to the school. I think that would be cool. Maybe we could have a natty type relationship with him, with us being his natty. And I don't know, I think that would be a pretty cool idea. I hope they do something like that if they do go along with this Dumbledore route that I think they might do. There's just so much potential right now for this game to eventually get a sequel and just ideas they could do for the future, but obviously this would be a long time away till we eventually get that. Most games nowadays that are AAA games take about 4 years to make, so all these ideas would come out around 2027, as sad as that sounds. But hey, who knows, we might get DLC before then. But right now they're still working on the game to come out on Nintendo Switch, which I am hyped for because I love my Nintendo Switch and I want to replay Hogwarts Legacy all over again on it. I really can't express enough how perfect I find this game and how much I've come to love this game and everything within it. I grew up with these Harry Potter films, and every time I watch them or play the Lego Harry Potter games or play any of the video games or look at some of the Harry Potter merchandise I have, I always just wished I would get the chance someday or any way, even though it wouldn't be possible, to get to be a student at Hogwarts. And this game gave me everything I wanted in a Wizarding World game. And even if we're talking about it from a non-massive Harry Potter fan perspective, I understand the flaws people see in this game with the facial movements when the characters are talking, or maybe I don't see it. I love this game, and look at my channel. My whole channel has been based around Hogwarts Legacy so far. I cannot put into words how much this game means to me, that it finally came out and it was just perfect. When it was announced, I wanted it right away, and I've rewatched the films at least 5 or 6 or 7 times. You gotta understand as well, I rewatch those movies at least 4 times a year. I know I'm sort of crazy for them. I even rewatched Deathly Hallows I was talking to my mom the other day about this, but at least I think I saw it 6 times in theaters, and I'm gonna be seeing them again soon, because I don't know why, but one of the theaters near me is doing a whole Harry Potter marathon, and I got tickets to see Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2, because when you're watching those movies, you gotta watch them together. They're just, chef's kiss. Anyways, back to Hogwarts Legacy. If it isn't clear to you after watching this whole 20-minute long video, which, by the way, if you're here right now at the end of the video, you're awesome, and I want you to comment. Just comment like that you watched the whole way through. That'll mean a lot to me. I'm sorry, I don't really have anything to think of to say for you to comment, but if you watch this whole video through, thank you. And if you're here right now and you're wondering what my rating is, it is very clear that I think this game is about a gazillion out of 10. I love it that much, and I just really hope that we could get something more like this, and if we don't, I'm happy with what we got. At the end of the day, I think my favorite part deep down is the Lumos sound.
Lumos.
This is Zach. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.